Hi, Christian. Hope this finds you well. In answer to this, um, I I work for you, so share any and all comments that you want to share with me, and I'll address things as best as I can, In general, the more you tell me, the more I know. So don't feel like you have to edit your comments at all. Let's go ahead and take a look at your squat. Oh, Christian, I need to see your feet. I need to see your feet. I'm starting to wonder if you have feet. So try and help me out there. You'll dial it in. You'll get more and more used to using video here. What I'm seeing with the video that you've got for me um, is I think that we're seeing a little bit of knee slide still at the bottom. The knees are going forward, and I need them to go more out. See if I can get anything out of this. The knees are continuing to slide forward all the way to the bottom, and they need to stop at some point. They need to stop by the time you're a third of the way down. Hip drive is good, although I think you're tilting forward of the middle of your foot on the way up, and your back angle becomes more horizontal than you want it. And then you have to use too much knee on the way up. That one might have been a little bit better. I need you to make a Superman chest and tighten your upper back. Your upper back's a little bit rounded. The cure for that is a Superman chest. Lift the chest way up. Some people call it a proud chest. Some people call it a gorilla chest. I call it Superman chest, but chest up. And that will tighten up your upper back. That will reinforce your connection with the bar up here and will help you maintain your whole spine in rigid extension. Okay. So here's the things I want you to fix. First of all, get as much practice as you can using the camera and getting the kind of shot that I need, which includes your whole body and your feet. Secondly, I need you to make sure that you're driving knees out and stop your knees just in front of your toes. Don't let them keep sliding forward all the way down to the bottom. And third, make that Superman chest so that you have your thoracic spine in rigid extension, which will help you put your entire spine into rigid extension. Let's go ahead and look at the press. So you have two here. Don't worry, you'll get better at this shooting the videos. It takes a little bit of time. Okay, now I want you to see something that you're doing here, which is an error. All right, grip looks okay, but I mean this hand is jacked all the way back so that the back of your hand is horizontal. I want the back of your hand to be almost in line with the back of your forearm, right? So this grip needs to be straighter. You are putting too much pressure on your wrist by having your hand way back like that. So again, I need you to go and look at the Press 2.0 video and manage this grip so that the bar is low in the heel of your palm and that your wrists are straight. There's also an excellent article you'll find on the Starting Strength website called Gripping Matters by Jordan Feigenbaum, and consider taking a look at that. But this wrist position here is not sustainable as you go up in weight. You're getting away with it right now because it's relatively light, but you need a straight wrist. Elbows could be a tiny bit more forward. But the error that I'm talking about is this one here. See how you've jacked your hips back? You've jacked your hips back in preparation for thrusting them forward. That is an error. You need to throw your hips from a completely neutral position. It's a bad idea to stick your hips back before you do the hip thrust at the beginning of the press. It does two things that we don't want to do. First of all, it puts the bar even more in front of the middle of the foot. And secondly, it places undue stress on your lower back. It creates a moment around your lower back and your hip that you don't need. So I want you to practice throwing that hip from a completely neutral spine. Don't cock your hip back before you start the exercise. Good. When you come down, there you are, right there. That's where your hip should come from. Your hip on the next repetition of the exercise should come from right here and throw it forward. Don't jack it back and then throw it forward. That's mechanically inefficient and it will risk an injury in the long term. There you go again, you jacked it back a little bit. That's not what I want. You should hold that position right there and throw it from right there. Like you did that time. That was actually pretty good. That time you didn't cock your hip back. There you are again. Maybe a little bit of cocking your hip back there, but these are better towards the end of the set. Actually, it looks like your grip is cleaning up a tiny bit there. Tempo is a little bit off, but I want to fix this cock position first. And here's something. Kristian, you can start and finish this exercise. You can start and finish this exercise with the bar in the rack. There's got to be a way that you can film it from a 3/4 front angle here, but it's eventually you're not going to be able to pick up the bar up at the weight you need from these safeties right here. You're going to want to do the press out of the rack. So experiment with different camera angles and see if you can get that. I know it's a pain, but it's going to help you in the long run. Let's look at the one that actually shows your feet. Just real quick to make sure you've got the foot position that I want. Foot position is pretty much what I want. Elbows need to be in front, wrists need to be straight. It should be a 1-2 movement, so hips forward, and then as you bounce out of the hip, that's when the bar goes up. So it should be 1-2. Again, look at the video on Press 2.0 for some clarification. Press is a difficult exercise. It's more technically demanding than most people think, so be patient with yourself on it. But there are definitely some things that we need to clean up here. Top position is very nice. Good shrug. That's going to get really inconvenient after a while. All right. So next, let's look at your deadlift. Set your back. You are not setting your back. All right, Kristian, you are not setting your back, and that's not going to be sustainable either. So at this point, before you pull, I should see you take a deep breath, and I should see you rotate your chest up at this hinge here. You should raise the chest. Point your nipples at the wall in front of you. You are not getting tight before you pull, and that's not efficient. And in the long term, when the weight gets heavy enough, that's not going to be safe. So I need to see you, I need a clear picture of you setting your back before you pull. And so I'm going to once again include the link to the deadlift videos, and I need you to look at those very, very closely because I need you to have a safe back. I need you to set your back before you pull. A bar is not on your legs, which is another thing I don't like. The bar needs to come straight up your legs. There, you almost set your back. In fact, you did kind of set your back. Let's look at this a little bit more closely. See what you did here. You're in a pretty good position. You set your back, and then there you go. You're raising the chest a little bit, not as much as I want. You can see that your back is an extension here. There's even a little bit of lumbar curve here, which is what I want. You could raise the chest harder, set the back harder, but this is a little bit better than the first rep. And then just before you pull, you relax everything and then do that. And that is incorrect. You were in the right position. You were in the right position. Right about there. You were in a pretty good position. The bar on your legs, knees just inside your elbows, hips at the right height. You were setting your back a little bit, and then you just sort of like did that and let go of everything. Your back is is more round. So there's a little bit of a problem with the setup, and I need you to study the setup very closely by using the starting strength videos. Watch those a couple of times and make sure you're doing that exact 5-point setup. Bar over the middle of the foot, take your grip, lock your grip with straight elbows and straight wrists, shins forward to the bar, that's step 3. Step 4, take a deep breath and raise the chest. Raise the chest. And don't let your breath out again. At the bottom, before you raise your chest, you get 1 breath. And once you take that breath, you raise the chest, get set, and pull without taking another breath. Because if you let your breath out, you're going to lose your back. And then drag the bar up your legs. If the bar is not in contact with the legs all the way up, it's wrong. You're able to do this because you're strong enough to handle this weight, but when the weight gets heavier, this is not going to work. Now, once again, here you are. You're in almost the correct position here. Pretty good. I need your back to be set a little bit harder. And then you start to push with your legs, and your legs just push your hips up and your shins away from the bar. Now the bar is out in front of you. Your back is more horizontal. You haven't opened up your hips at all. So you're using energy from your legs to raise your hips without picking up the bar. So another way for you to think about this is, here you are, chest up. Now, when you pull, you need to make sure that all of this comes up, that you're not just pushing your hips up without pushing the bar up too. So the first thing that moves is the bar, not your hips, not anything else. The first thing that moves is the bar. So as soon as you start applying that extra force to the floor, the bar should break from the floor. Instead, you're using your quads, you're blowing the wad on your quads and just raising the hips. And then you have to lift the rest of the weight mostly with your back. That's not what we're going to want in the long term. Lockout position looks much better. Okay, so you've got some homework to do. And once again, I'm going to post a link to the starting strength DVD online deadlift stuff, and also press 2.0 video. So study those hard and then emulate them the next time we get you back in the gym. This is progress. We're going to keep the same program plan going forward, and I will see you next time. Good work, Kristian.